Continuing with the chapter 4, moving on to the next theorem. So, next theorem is something that you establish a relationship between the order of an element and the order of group. Okay, that is to find the relationship. So, the theorem states that let A be an element of order n in a group and k be a positive integer. Then the group generated by a raised to k will be the same as the group generated by a to the power of GCD of n and k. And also the order of a raised to k will be equal to n divided by GCD of n and k. This is the theorem. Okay, that shows or that establish a relationship between the order of the element n and a positive integer. Now you take an element A which has a finite order n and D is the GCD of n and k. That is, it is a GCD of the order of A and a positive integer k. Now we know that by division algorithm and Euclidean algorithm, GCD can be expressed as the linear combination of n and k. So which means that you might have studied that. Suppose you are finding the GCD of say 40, maybe 48 and 15. Okay. What is the GCD of 48 and 15? So we do division algorithm, Euclidean algorithm we do. 15 times 3 is 45. Remainder is 3. And then you divide 15 by 3. So 3 times 15 is 15. Remainder is 0. So this is your GCD by Euclidean algorithm. So now your aim is to express this GCD as a linear combination of 15 and 48. So your aim is to find two integers a and b. It can be either positive or negative. But your aim is to express that tree as the linear combination. So from that first division algorithm, you can write 48 as 15 times 3 plus 3. So 3 is your GCD. So from this you can write 3 is equal to 48 minus 15 times 3. So this is your linear combination. From this you can write b value is equal to 1 and a is equal to minus 3. There is no problem even if you interchange the variables, but only thing is whatever comes with 15 and whatever comes with 48 has to be unique. That won't change. Even if you write it as 15b plus 48 or a also, it doesn't matter. But the values you get for the coefficient of 15 and 48 has to be same. So this is meant by the linear combination. So the GCD of any two numbers can be expressed as linear combination. That is what is mentioned here. So D can be written as the linear combination of n and k. So definitely we can find two integers s and t. It can be any integer. Okay, the example which I showed with a and b. In this textbook they are using the letters s and t. So I am also using the same. So there exist integers s and t such that d is equal to ns plus tk. Now you are finding a to the power of d. So a to the power of d, d is replaced with whatever we wrote. That is d, we took that as ns plus tk. The same substitution is given here, ns plus kt. And then you split that thing, that is a raised to m plus n. We know that a raised to m plus n is equal to a power m times a power n. So this is the exponential rule which we know. Using that rule, you split the powers, a raised to ns times a raised to kt. So a raised to n. So again you can exchange this as a raised to n the whole power s, because the power of a or the order of a is n. So we are going to change that a raised to n to identity. For that, from this step you rearrange the element or rearrange it, and then you get a raised to n is replaced as e. So any number raised or identity raised to s is e itself. So e times a raised to kt. So e times anything is that number itself. So a raised to kt or a raised to k the whole power t. So that is basically an element of the group or the cyclic group generated by a raised to k, because it is k, a raised to k, that element raised to t. So initially we started with an element from a raised to d, and you arrived at an element in a raised to k. So these two groups or the sets are subsets. So a raised to d is a subset of a raised to k. That is our first equation. Now we'll have to prove the converse of this. That is, a raised to k is a subset of a raised to d. Reverse we have to prove. For that you are taking let k is equal to dr. So a raised to k will be a raised to dr, or a raised to d the whole power r. So a raised to k is a subset of a raised to d. So from both equations 1 and 2 we get the cyclic group generated by a raised to k is the same as the group generated by d, and this d was taken as the GCD of n and k. So the first portion of the theorem, the groups are same, that we proved. Next we have to prove that the order is obtained by n divided by GCD. Order thing we have to prove next. So now we have to prove the order of a raised to k is equal to n divided by GCD of this thing. So that is n divided by d, where d we initially took that as the GCD. So clearly a raised to d the whole raised to n by d is equal to a raised to n. That is obvious, which is equal to identity. Therefore, order of a raised to d will be less than or equal to n by d itself. Now suppose if there is an integer I less than n by d, then a raised to d the whole raised to I is not equal to I, because we took the order of a as n. So if there is a number less than that, then the power of a raised to d, that cannot be an identity, because only if it is a raised to n, it should give you the identity element. The reason is the order of a is n. That is the reason. So any number less than n or n by d cannot be an order. So that power will not give you the identity. Therefore, the order of a raised to k will be the same as order of the cyclic group this thing. So instead of k, that is instead of this thing, we first proved that the cyclic group generated by this thing, that set is equal to the group generated by a raised to GCD of this thing. So which will be the same as a raised to GCD. So that is equal to n divided by GCD of nk. That is the second part of the theorem. Now we see an example for that. Suppose the order of an element is 30. So you want to find out the order of other numbers, or like which other powers are the same cyclic groups or something, if you want to find that. So you want to find what is the equivalent cyclic group for a raised to 26. For that you just need to find the GCD of 26 and 30. So GCD of 26 and 30 is 2. So a raised to the group generated by a raised to 26 will be the same as the group generated by a square. Next case, if you are taking a to the power of 23. So GCD of 23 is a prime number. So GCD of 23 and 30. GCD of 23 and 30 is 1. So that is same as the group generated by 23 is the same as the group generated by A. Moving on to next set, a raised to 21 you want to find. So that will be the same as GCD of 21 and 30. GCD of 21 and 30 is, I think it's 3. So a raised to 21 is same as a raised to 3. Then we have a raised to 22. So GCD of 22 and 30. Again it is 2. So that is equal to 2. See? So 26. So group by a square is same as the group 22. Again it's same as group 26. So all this will be counted as only one cyclic group, subgroup. Now that is about the set, that is the equal subgroups we found, or Then what about the order of these sets? So if it is order of a raised to 23, you want to find what is the order of this group means. That will be n divided by, that was the second part of the theorem. That is order of a raised to k is equal to n divided by GCD of n k. This was the theorem. So here k is 23. So 30 is the order of the element. So 30 divided by GCD of 23 and 30. That is 30 by 1, which is equal to 30 itself. Now another example, if you want to find order of a raised to 22, that will be 30 divided by GCD of 22 and 30, which is the GCD is again 2. So 30 by 2 is 15. That is the order of a raised to 22. So this is how we apply that theorem. Then we will have some corollaries for this theorem. Yeah, first thing says that in a finite cyclic group, the order of an element divides the order of the group. So if you are having a finite cyclic group, the order of an element will divide the order of group. That is the first corollary. Then we have the second one. That is, if order of A is equal to n, then the cyclic group generated by a raised to I is equal to a raised to j if and only if the GCD of n and I will be the same as GCD of n and j. And also their orders are equal if and only if the GCDs are equal. Okay, that is the corollary for this. So suppose you are taking the order of A as n, then by theorem for any positive integer I and j we have, according to a theorem, that is we wrote the theorem for positive integer k. So instead of taking positive integer k, here we take two different integers I and j. So then we can write a raised to I. So group generated by a raised to I is same as group generated by a to the power of GCD of n and I. This one, like in that theorem, we are replacing k with I. Similarly, we can write a raised to j is the same as a raised to GCD of n and j. Ivada, like here, instead of k, you are writing j. Okay, and also you can write about the order of that a raised to I. That will be equal to n divided by GCD of ni, and order of a raised to j will be n divided by GCD of nj. Now suppose the groups are equal, which means the cyclic groups, that is if a raised to I is same as a raised to j, then their orders are also equal. So orders are also equal means we have written it that equations here. See, this is your first equation, this is your second equation. So when you replace that, n on the numerator will get cancelled and you get GCD of ni is equal to GCD of n and j. So the converse also holds, that is if the GCDs are equal, you can just write the reverse of this, vice versa. That is the second corollary. Then you have the third one, that is generators of a finite cyclic group. That is if order of A is equal to n, then like instead of I and j, what happens? You have 1 there. So a raised to a raised to 1 is equal to a raised to j if and only if GCD of n and j is equal to 1. And order of A is equal to order of the cyclic group a raised to j, again if GCD is equal to 1. There is nothing. In that previous corollary, no, the second corollary, instead of I, you just replace 1 there. So what happens? You will get GCD of n comma 1 is equal to GCD of n comma j. So 1 and n GCD is 1 itself. So 1 is equal to GCD of nj. So this corollary 3 is followed by corollary 2. Then we have the fourth one, which can be used for problems like if you want to find the generators of some group, you can use this. It is an integer k in Zn is a generator of Cn if and only if GCD of nk is equal to 1. What I can show you is like if you are taking the set, say with set C10 you are taking. So we know that the elements of C10 are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So which all numbers have the GCD 1 there? So 0, 10 GCD is 1. 1 and 10 GCD is 1. 2 and 10 no. 3 and 10 GCD is 1. 4 and 5, 4 and 10 no, it is not 1. 5, 10 no. 6, 10 no. 7 and 10 GCD is 1. 8 no. 9 and 10 GCD is 1. So which all numbers have the GCD 1? 0, 1, 3, 7 and 9. So these are the generators of that group Z10. So in this way, if you want to find the generators of Zn, generally from that set, see which all numbers and with n has GCD 1. If and only if GCD of the n and that number is 1. So those will be the generators. This corollaries will help you in solving the numerical problems, like simple problems you can solve using this corollaries. Okay, that is the theorem which helps you in establishing or knowing the relationship between the order of an element and any other positive integer. Okay, yeah.